Happy Wednesday, everybody. Middle of the week, middle of the month almost, and this is Sights and Sounds. No, that's not right. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. That's right. On this Wednesday, 13th day of June, 2018, I'm Dan Kuntz, your host, the man in black, Steve Hare, our news director. To my immediate left, Kat in control. Happy Wednesday, my friend.
Hey, you too.
You ready to go get him?
In all of his sartorial splendor.
Me?
Yes. The man in black tag.
We were talking off camera. I actually keep track of what shirt I wear each day. I have a little calendar in my closet door. I open it up and say, I wore this on this date. So, so you mix it up. Yeah. The one who's really got the wardrobe around here is Grant.
Oh, boy.
Our anchorman. He's got about 25 dress shirts and about 35 ties, so we can mix and match all over the place.
Well, normally it does match, too.
Yeah, it does. He has a sense of style, I guess. Well, he better, because his picture is on the front of our building as you drive by.
Yeah, I was going to say, look up I think he could probably model for GQ, couldn't he?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
He's a good-looking guy. Where do we get off on that?
I don't know.
Pretty good show for you today. Robert Sandage, RLS Productions, your friend of mine, Robert, known each other for years. The summer concert series at OMB Gardens returns again this year for the 5th year in a row. He's got a great lineup. Robert came in yesterday morning and pre-taped his interview because who's kidding who? Robert doesn't do mornings. So we'll have that for the second half of the show. Apple Sox, an historic victory last night for the Wenatchee Apple Sox. That's, in this business, we call that a tease. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just a historic victory. We'll talk about that when we get to sports. The Mariners are just moving along.
They're doing good, aren't they?
They're doing good.
Man.
They're doing good.
Anytime you can beat the Angels after Mike Trout hits 2 home runs, and he's done it 2 consecutive games, problem is the Mariners had 4 home runs.
Yeah, they're playing good baseball, and they're beating the teams in their own division, and that's critical.
Yeah.
You want to beat Texas, you want to beat Houston, you want to beat Oakland, and you want to beat the LA Angels. You want to beat the teams in your own division. It almost, if you have a winning record against the other 4 teams in your division, you can almost guarantee you're going to punch a ticket to the playoffs.
Have you been watching kind of the trend in Major League Baseball this year?
Oh yeah, I don't.
It's kind of interesting because if it's not a strikeout
it's
or
a home
run, it's an out, right?
Yeah.
So basically, it's changed the dynamics of the game.
Well, people love the long ball. My team, the Yankees, have a tendency to live off the long ball, but they've been doing that since they got Babe Ruth in 1920. So some things just don't change. You have a 98-year tradition of hitting the ball over the fence. You're going to hit the ball over the fence. Home runs and strikeouts. That's what it is nowadays.
Yeah, I kind of miss the old days of the bunt squeeze.
Well, you're a big fan of John J. McGraw and Napoleon Lajoie and Eddie Collins. That's your era, right?
Well, a little D. Gordon for the Mariners, though, keeps that kind of sense of the old school alive.
Speaking of sports, and we're not, 2 big sporting events begin tomorrow. The United States Open from Shinnecock Hills in Long Island, New York, begins tomorrow.
One of my favorites.
And the single biggest sporting event every 4 years, it blows the Olympics out of the water, the World Cup begins tomorrow.
Coming to the Americas, by the way, 2026.
Canada, Mexico, and the country in between those two won the bid to host the World Cup in 2026.
Yeah.
And they'll have some World Cup games at CenturyLink Field in Seattle, which is pretty cool. So the World Cup, which is by far the most watched sporting event in the world every 4 years, begins in Russia tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock our time, and Russia takes on Saudi Arabia at the first game of the World Cup.
And I'm not giving the U.S. a chance this year.
Well, that's because they're not in it. I got to pick a team to root for. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got to look at the entire, how many teams are in their World Cup. I know there's like 30. I got to figure out which team to root for and just pull for them.
I normally root, if it's not for the U.S., it's Brazil. I've always liked Brazil.
They're the favorite.
Yeah.
They're the favorite. The beautiful game. The World Cup begins tomorrow. When they have the World Cup final in mid-July, they're estimated over 1 billion people around the world will watch the World Cup final in next month. That's insane. That's like more than even watch this show.
It is boring.
It's not boring. It's not boring.
Hey.
Around the valley we go with our Valley View cameras. Let's take a look at what Kat has for us today. The Wenatchee Valley takes center stage, as it always done. A little cool again today. Yesterday we only hit 69, Steve. We'll be at about 74 today. But we're in for a major weather change. Summer's going to come our way big time next week. Forecast details are coming up. You can see a few high clouds. The big story today is going to be the wind. As the day progresses, we'll have the wind 17 to 22 miles an hour, gusts in the mid-30s.
Not good.
At times.
Not good,
today.
especially for the basin.
Yeah, so... But I understand they got some pretty good. They got a pretty good handle on the Soap Lake fire. You're going to have that in the news, right?
We'll have an update for you coming up.
Good. Appreciate that, Steve. Camber 2 Kat says, let's slowly dissolve to Apple Annie's and take a look at the beautiful hamlet of Cashmere.
Boy, there's a lot going on in that picture.
Yeah, there is. You can see Cashmere.
Look at
as
that.
a matter of fact.
That's
of course,
postcard quality there, I'll tell you, with
the Wenatchee River Bluegrass Festival this weekend up at the fairgrounds and the Expo Center. Had a great talk with Chuck yesterday. Maybe we might have to re-air that. That was a great interview. And then he brought me a bottle of wine.
Yeah, I did, didn't he?
Happy with that. Good morning, Cashmere. Thanks for joining us. All of these cameras, courtesy of Localtel's Sky-Fi high-speed wireless internet, available to you. Camera number 3. We say hello and good morning to Nanapoc Ridge. Now, you see the high-tension power lines, Steve, that deliver power all over the place. Is that one of those lines that they're going to be flying over or have been flying over the PUD with the helicopters?
I
don't know if that is.
believe so.
Okay.
Maybe so, yeah. Unless that's a BPA line.
I wonder what kind of job that would be to actually lay those down originally, way back in the day when they had to basically clear-cut a 10-yard wide swath to put the lines in. That must have been an interesting job.
Yeah, it must have been.
And camera 4. Kat says, let's say hello and good morning to, that is Monument Hill.
Is that Quincy?
That's Quincy. That's Quincy, the beautiful hamlet of Quincy. Opportunities unlimited out there in Quincy. And it looks like an orchard burn. Looks like they kill all the dead wood out and they put it in a big pile and it'll light her up.
In the calm of the morning, they can do that. But
So good morning to Quincy. We are the #1 rated local show between 7 and 8 a.m. in the greater Quincy area.
that's the view that Lynette and I have
From
our
your
vacation
summer home
there on Monument Hill.
Yeah, Monument Hill. So that's a beautiful estate that you have there, Steve. 7 minutes after the hour, right on the button. Let's take a look at your forecast from the National Weather Service. It's going to be sunny today, but we put up the wind graphic because that's really what we're going to be talking about. Starts out breezy this morning, but this afternoon, northwest wind will be up to 17 to 22 miles an hour, Steve, and then winds could gust as high as 35 or 36 miles an hour for the Wenatchee Valley. Later on today, there is a cold front that is passing through, and normally the winds die down tonight. It is, but not much. Instead of gusts in the mid-30s, it'll be gusts in the lower 30s tonight. Clear skies, cool. 51 is chilly for the overnight low. Things begin to change a little bit Thursday. Sunshine, high of 75. So the weather's perfect for the graduation for Westside High School because that's indoors.
No, that's right.
On Friday, however, the Wenatchee Valley College commencement exercises outdoors at Lee Bofto Field at the Apple Bowl, and looks pretty good. Mostly sunny, high of 77, very little wind in the forecast or rain on Friday. By the way, the Westside High School graduation tomorrow and the college on Friday will both be televised live right here on this television station. Not a bad weekend, partly sunny, some light rain possible. And then, as I mentioned before, the National Weather Service is predicting beginning Sunday into Monday, we're going to start climbing that ladder, and all of next week, sunny. And for the first time this year, we can say hot.
Yeah.
We'll be in the mid-90s by this time next week for our afternoon highs.
Boy, there's no gradual change, is there?
No. And the long-term forecast for this summer is warmer than normal temperatures. Just a quick little heads up on that between now and the end of September. 8 minutes after the hour on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, Steve Hare will fill your head full of information because you want to be in the know. If you wouldn't be watching this television program. The news with Steve Hare is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, live this morning from Studio 3 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
You can buy fruit almost anywhere. From first off the tree to first in your hands, Lone Pine offers seasonal fruit from their farm and around the region every day. Make Lone Pine your latte stop with coffee from Blue Star Coffee Roasters and a fresh piece of fruit pie. Take a break with a friend and order a cold micro beer or a glass of Northwest wine. Bring the whole family and enjoy a Lone Pine lunch or a fresh shake in their park-like setting. Lone Pine Fruit and Espresso on Highway 97.
I wish we had something cool for the kids to do this summer. I feel like we've just done it all.
Have you heard about the 100 Days of Summer at the Rack? The kids can take a dive with swim team, challenge themselves with karate and junior workouts. It's games galore playing tennis and pickleball. No need to choose. They can try it all with the Rack Summer Multi-Sport Camps. There's fun for you too. Get fit with group fitness or work on that tan by the pool. The Rack has something for the whole family. Find all the details at wrac.org and do your 100 Days of Summer at the Rack, where we play every day.
And now it's time for your local news update with Steve Hare.
It's Wednesday, June 13th, and here are the stories we're following around north central Washington this morning. Well, first of all, East Wenatchee's Gateway project now on hold until the City Council can decide on moving forward with higher than expected costs. Discussion on the motion to approve an increase of nearly $130,000 in the project costs drew comments both for and against at last night's City Council meeting.
It's just really a bother to me that we're spending this much money down there. And our first discussion about, the cost of that was here, and now it's our projected, and I emphasize projected, is here. I don't know how much higher it's going to go.
The evolution of this project has brought us to where we are now. And I think the responsible thing is for us to move forward and basically do what the citizens who have participated in communicating on this have asked us to do.
I would personally like to see the city come up with some additional funding from some grants or some sponsors. There are lots of, I'm sure there are 20 or 30 or 40 different organizations we could go to and ask, would you be willing to come up with some of the money for this and see if they go with it? I don't think the city of East Wenatchee should pay for the whole thing.
I think our due diligence with the community and getting feedback was really well received. We had a lot of community input. They weighed in heavily, I think, on this and overwhelmingly supported this project.
Well, following a lengthy discussion among the board members, Mayor Steve Lacy put that motion to a final vote.
So all those in favor of the motion, raise your hands. Those opposed? It's 3-3. That's motion does not carry. It's not necessarily defeated. I guess we'll have another council member in a couple of weeks. And we can do some more research. Don't worry, Mac up. Somebody else might change their mind between now and then. You never know. All right.
Are you not able to break a tie, Steve?
I can't break a tie with this fund when it involves an ordinance or a spending project.
So there you have it. Since the motion did not pass, Mayor Lacy tabled the two motions related to the Gateway Park project until a future meeting. Also last night, the East Wenatchee Council began its meeting, an executive session, where they discussed the appointment of a new member. Eric Grandstrom was there and he filed this report.
I move Shane Magdoff is our newly elected.
Shane Magdoff was appointed to the vacated seat of retired Councilwoman Sandra McCourt last night during the East Wenatchee City Council's meeting.
Again, by vote of hands, all in favor of that motion, raise your hands.
There were so many good candidates, and everybody spoke well and from the heart and cares about the community. So I actually did not think that I would be the one chosen. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, it is me.
A relative newcomer to the Valley, Magdoff says that even though she's only lived in East Wenatchee for 3 years, she's a regular at City Council meetings.
I retired here, wanted to be involved in a community that was engaged and growing, but not too fast. And so I really did begin volunteering in a lot of places. I've actually come to the City Council meetings since I was here for the last 3 years. And I applied thinking that, or believing that I had a lot of qualities and qualifications that I could offer and add to the council members.
With the council deadlocked on whether to move forward with the Gateway Park project, Magdoff says she's looking forward to learning additional information from staff.
Well, I've been involved with the City Council meetings, and I know all about the Gateway project, and I was here when they opened it to the public, and I've seen the processes. So I'm pretty comfortable in what I'm going to vote. I would like, when I go to the workshop, to hear a little bit more about the funding from Nick. So, I'm okay with that.
Magdoff will take her oath of office at the next City Council meeting and says she will run for the position in the next election. Reporting in East Wenatchee, I'm Eric Grandstrom for NCW Life Channel News.
Thanks, Eric. Also this morning, Chelan City Council meets in special session tonight to discuss the final construction for the Wooden Avenue Bridge Rehabilitation Project, with final action on that project contract expected tonight as well. Special session is for council members' discussion and public input will only be taken on council's approval tonight. That meeting, by the way, starts at 6 p.m. at Chelan City Hall. A proposed strategy for the future management of Icicle Creek in the Leavenworth area is now available for public review. A draft environmental impact study has been released by the Washington State Department of Ecology in collaboration with numerous stakeholders and Chelan County. Commissioner Keith Gaynor said the document is the product of years of planning.
The Icicle strategy was put together it's been 5 years ago, in 2012, actually almost 6 years ago now, that's when it began, and that was to try and address the concerns that we had for in-stream flows, more predictable water for those who have the rights to the icicle. It addresses domestic use. It really tries to take care of the hatchery issues, which was really the impetus for the whole strategy. Mike Caputa and I were back in Washington, D.C. last week, and we had some very productive conversations with our electeds and also the different departments, Bureau of Reclamation, Fish and Wildlife, and then we also talked with the Forest Service as it relates to the 8 Mile issue. But the EIS has been put out. It's out for comment. You can comment until June 27th, and we would encourage input from the public. But it's been a long process to get to this point.
What kind of a timeline are you working with? When would you like to see a final document?
Well, we'd like to see it, soon. I'm not sure exactly. I know it's out for. It was out for like a 90-day period for comment, and as soon as we get the comments, they'll be processed, and then as soon as possible, I'd like to think by the end of the year we might be able to have a document.
Commissioner, when last we spoke, the Phase 1 repairs to the 8 Mile Lake Dam had been completed. Can you give us a status report now on what's happening up there?
Well, last week there was about, on Thursday when we got the update, there's about 8 inches more of water that could be drawn down. And so, everything seems really pretty good. When I say pretty good, I mean it was a real emergency situation. Everyone downstream was notified to be on the alert. They've installed monitors both in the lake and in the stream itself. So they are closely monitoring any discharges from the lake. But as far as the next steps, once they got that excavator up there, which they had to fly in, and got the earthen portion of the dam pretty well lowered so that it was a much wider spillway, which allowed for more discharge, it really alleviated the major concerns.
And of course, we'll continue to monitor the situation in the 8 Mile Lake Dam area for future stories as well. A motorcyclist was killed yesterday in a crash along State Route 20 along the North Cascades Highway. State troopers say 60-year-old Sean Greer of Everett was eastbound when he crashed into a tree after losing control of his bike about 31 miles east of Diablo Lake. Crews continue to work to strengthen containment lines on the Soap Lake fire yesterday. The fire that burned about 2,000 acres of grass, sage, and brush is 50% contained officially. There was one small outbuilding that was lost overnight, but no homes have been burned and no injuries reported. Fire crews patrolled the fire line overnight to watch for hot spots. The Northeast Washington Interagency Incident Management Team number 2 has assumed command of the fire and has also established a command post in the fire camp in Soap Lake. Level 2 evacuation orders remain in place for affected residents, but there are no current road closures at this time. Highway 17 is reopened. Also, a big heads up for people who use I-90 Snoqualmie Pass. Starting today, or actually yesterday it started, the westbound lanes between milepost 52, which is the summit of Snoqualmie, and milepost 47, Denny Creek, will be reduced now to 2 lanes 24/7 until mid-August as DOT crews continue major work to repair the bridge decks. During this work, one westbound lane will shift to the eastbound lanes, while another westbound lane will continue westbound. Be alert and prepare for possible delays there while that work continues. Douglas County commissioners yesterday approved a 1-year moratorium on the outdoor use of large shipping containers for Bitcoin mining. Commissioner Dan Sutton said the ban only applies to stand-alone shipping containers.
It simply requires that the said cargo container be enclosed on all sides and not be visible from any angle, which just in essence means 4 walls and a roof. they're certainly welcome to use those under those conditions. And the moratorium is for a period of a year. It'll give us time to take a look at this, the aesthetics, and look at the language and make sure that we've listened to all people's and concerns. As a commissioner, I can't see an area where they could, give a valid argument why a bare cargo container in public view would be a good thing without covering on it. But we'll take a look at it. We'll listen to everybody and listen to what they have to say.
Commissioner's action yesterday followed a public hearing on that item. Interim controls on the use of shipping containers was adopted back in April. It was determined at that time that the unregulated placement of cargo containers for cryptocurrency mining had created unanticipated and undesired visual impacts within the county's industrial zoned areas. Well, finally, Pangbourne Airport welcomes the historic Flight Foundation to Saturday's Aviation Day celebration. In fact, the group today will be flying into the airport a P-51B Mustang. The vintage World War II fighter plane will be leaving Friday morning, so you're invited to come visit before then at the Pangbourne Flight Center. And get this, the group is also bringing in a 1944 DC-3 passenger plane to the airport. We'll also be offering rides in that aircraft, I believe, for $295 a seat. If you're looking to maybe grab a piece of history this week, we've also been invited for a media ride on that vintage aircraft later today. So Kat and I will be heading up to the airport for a ride on the DC-3 aircraft. It brings back old memories for me. I think my first commercial flight as a kid was not on a DC-3, of course, but it was a DC-6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Flown, of course, by Wilbur Wright. Very few people know that.
Well,
I'm jealous.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of
jealous.
fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah,
so
this,
best behavior, Steve. You're representing the TV station in public.
They bring
now.
up some great planes. I've ridden in a couple of World War II bomber aircraft, so yeah, always look forward to that.
I can't wait to see the video.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a camera in the plane with you, and
I'll
then
have
Kat
a
will be there as well with another camera. I'm looking forward to that. So we'll have that on tomorrow's news. You don't have to wait that long for today's news. It'll be on today at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock with the aforementioned Grant Olson. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock are your three chances to catch up with the news on this very television station. It's also available for you to peruse on our website, ncwlife.com. We get it posted up late in the afternoon, early in the evening, and also on our Facebook page. And if you want to get a hold of us, go to our Facebook page or do all kinds of different things, right, Steve?
That's right. We have any number of ways you can contact us with news suggestions. If you see breaking news, you use our hotline, 888-NCWL. But the best way to get in touch with me would be by my email, and that's at the address of news@ncwlife.com.
59 degrees, mixture of sun and clouds. A high today of only 74. That's chilly. The big story today is going to be the wind. It's going to be windy today and tonight, and then a very pleasant weekend in store, and then a very hot week next week. 23 minutes after the hour, sports is next. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley from Studio 7 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Harris.
Catch us on LocalTel Channel 12.
You can watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
This is the NCW Life Community Calendar brought to you by LocalTel. The Wenatchee River Bluegrass Festival is happening June 15th to June 17th at the Chelan County Expo Center in Cashmere. Kickstart your summer with the music of superstar bluegrass bands. Joe Harris Basketball Camp is June 15th to June 16th in Chelan. Camp instruction will feature current professional player Joe Harris and top collegiate athletes from the Pacific Northwest. For more information, visit ncwlife.com.
And we were back at 25 minutes after the hour. Sports. The Wenatchee Apple Sox got shut out. In fact, they only had 3 hits in a doubleheader loss to Portland. Well, they turned the tables in Corvallis last night. They scored runs, and they won. Wenatchee, as I mentioned, was shut out by Portland on Monday, so they had some offense. And last night's victory over Corvallis, their 4-0 victory, the 600th win in Apple Sox history. Congratulations. Curtis Baffis and Troy Stainbrook did the job on the mound for the Sox. They combined on an 8-hit shutout, 13 strikeouts between the two. Baffis earns his first victory. He went 7 innings, no runs, 6 hits, 9 strikeouts. Stainbrook came in relief, got his first save. He pitched the final 2 innings, did not give up a run, just a couple of hits and 4 strikeouts. Corey Meyer paced the Apple Sox offensively. They are back in Corvallis tonight, 6:35. First pitch. Turning to the Les Schwab scoreboard, what else happened in the West Coast League? Yesterday, Cowlitz scored 2 in the 8th and 2 in the 9th to tie it, and then they won it in the 11th, a 6-5 victory over the Port Angeles Lefties, who, by the way, has a couple of right-handed players as well. John Affendorfer's walk-off RBI double in the bottom of the 10th scored Jake Helton, and the Bend Elks knocked off Bellingham last night. Victoria brought 12 men to the plate in the 10th inning, and they beat Kelowna 13-7. Yakima Valley lost to Portland. The final there was 7-4 in a non-league game at Borleski Stadium at Walla Walla. The Sweets shut out the Highland Bears 4-0. West Coast League schedule for today. Cowlitz is at Port Angeles, Bend hosts Bellingham, Victoria is at Kelowna, Portland hosts Yakima Valley, Highline is at Walla Walla, and of course the Sox are still in Corvallis. Mitch Haniger and Ryan Healy each hit home runs. Seattle knocks off the Angels last night at Safeco Field. The final was 6-3. There were a lot of home runs last night. Hannigan's first came at the bottom of the first, a 2-out solo shot that gave the Mariners an early lead. He had a 2-run blast in the 5th that put Seattle up 3-0. He had it on with a solo. Healy helped out. He had solo home runs in the 6th and the 8th. And more home runs for Mike Trout. What a ball player this guy. He became the first player to have back-to-back multi-homer games in Safeco Field's history. Seattle had 14 hits on the night. Again, Mike Trout had a couple of home runs. Seattle manager Scott Service said it was a complete team victory.
There were some balls that were well struck tonight. Really good night for us offensively. Obviously, Mitch Haniger, what a game! Wow, a couple home runs, unbelievable throw. We played pretty good defense. We made some nice plays, a couple errors tonight along the way. But Mike Leake continues to roll. He executing pitches. I thought they put some pressure on him there in the 2nd inning. He threw a lot of pitches, at 2nd, 3rd, 1 out. Able to work that or out of that jam with the strikeout and the ground ball, and he got on a nice little roll after that. But I thought he does what he does. He gives us a chance to win. Very competitive and using different pitches on different nights. Really good sinker tonight. Saw a lot of balls on the ground, which was a really good sign there. Like I said, Haniger, awesome night. Healy hits a couple bombs. I thought our offense tonight really had good at-bats, and nice to see D. Gordon get going again. We hadn't seen that in a while, and I know he was in early today, made a few adjustments, and he certainly took it into the game. So, nice to get the series win. Hopefully we can finish him off tomorrow. But it's a good club over there, and they have a pretty good player in their team too. And we saw it again tonight. So, Mr. Trout, he's given me and a bunch and our pitching coaches. He's really tough to pitch to. Some of the pitches he hit out tonight were, kind of where he wanted to throw them, and he still does damage. So, good ball game, and we keep rolling.
Mariners have a day game today. I love day games on weekdays. It's one of my favorite things about baseball. Marco Gonzalez will toe the rubber. Garrett Richards will pitch for L.A. First pitch at 1:10 this afternoon. Les Schwab scoreboard, American League West. Houston down to Oakland. Dodgers beat the Rangers in interleague play. The final there was 12-5, so the Mariners leading the West, still only a half game over Houston. And they had mandatory minicamp began yesterday. The Seahawks, and Earl Thomas, he didn't show up. He's gone to social media. He wants a new contract. He has an existing contract. He wants a new one. Head coach Pete Carroll says he wasn't surprised that Earl Thomas did not show up. He said he'd like to see them there, but the people who showed up to work are going to go to work. And that's sports. At 29 minutes after the hour, today's obscure holiday is Sewing Machine Day. Yes, dust off your sewing machine and sew away. It was on this date in 1790. English inventor Thomas Saint got the patent for the very first sewing machine design. 14 years later, they finally built a sewing machine, and for 15 years after that, before sewing machines were made easily accessible to customers and consumers. What they have done with sewing machines in the last 10, 15 years is incredible. I went by a local sewing and vacuum store here in town to pick up a vacuum, and I was looking at the sewing machines they have. They're all computerized now. I said, did you sew? No, not really. You just kind of push a button and sit back and watch the machine go. And making your own clothes is making a comeback. Sewing machines. Enjoy it with Sewing Machine Day. That's one talent I just don't have. There's a lot of talents I just don't have. 30 minutes after the hour. Today in history, June 13th, 1966, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you by the court at no charge before questioning. The Miranda decision in Miranda v. Arizona, the United States Supreme Court said the police must inform suspects of their rights before they question them. It survived a court challenge in 2000, and it's here to stay. The Miranda ruling is 52 years old today, and yes, I have been read my Miranda rights. I'll leave it at that. 48 years ago today, the last #1 hit from the Beatles. The Long and Winding Road went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was the 20th and final #1 hit for the Beatles. Nobody has ever had more #1 hits in America than the Beatles, and they did it all between 1964 and 1970. The Pentagon Papers were published by the New York Times on this date for the first time on June 13th, 1971. The folks in the Defense Department and all those other people in the Nixon administration, they didn't like this at all. Lawsuits back and forth, and then the Washington Post started publishing it, and then it got crazy. It's the history of how we got stuck in the morass that was Vietnam. The Pentagon Papers, which shook this country to its core, was first published on this date 47 years ago. And on this date 35 years ago, June 13th, 1983, Pioneer 10 became the first man-made object to leave the solar system. It passed Neptune. Neptune was at that time the farthest planet out there. It passed Neptune, and whoop, it's gone now. It's about 10 billion miles from Earth right now. We lost contact, by the way, with Pioneer 10 on January 23rd, 2003, because the batteries to the communication center of Pioneer 10 ran out. It's out there somewhere. And finally, birthdays. Back in the days when you could name emperors what they were, born on this date in 1823, Charles the Bald. Charles the Bald, who was a Holy Roman Emperor. He was succeeded by Charles the Fat, who was born on this date in 1839. I didn't do a lot of research. Charles the Bald did a pretty good job, I'm told. Charles the Fat was pretty much useless as an emperor. He was kind of lazy and, yeah. Anyway, Charles the Bald and Charles the Fat shared the same birthday, as does Ben Johnson, the legendary actor. Ben Johnson would have been 100 years old today. This is the centennial of his birth. World champion, rodeo cowboy, of course, and an Academy Award-winning actor, best known for the westerns that he did with John Wayne. He showed up in Hollywood to deliver horses for a film. He was a rodeo cowboy, and he stuck around, and he got a couple of jobs, and before you knew it, he was an actor. Ben Johnson, a great actor, born in the state in 1918, died in 1996 at the age of 77. 33 minutes after the hour, everyone's entitled to Mike Magnotti's opinion. And then my interview with Robert Sandage from RLS Productions. Still to come your way between now and 8 o'clock on this edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Join the NCW Life channel for live coverage of the commencement ceremonies for Westside High School June 14th and Wenatchee Valley College June 15th. Coverage brought to you by
the Walkabout Grill in Wenatchee and outdoor seating in Leavenworth. Young Bucks Landscaping, save a buck. And by Columbia Valley Community Health with 9 locations in North Central Washington.
Celebrate with the class of 2018 live on your local TV station, NCW Life channel and ncwlife.com.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
I have a doctor who knows what they're talking about.
It's just so much more hands-on and friendly than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's really great to walk into somewhere where you feel welcomed and you feel accepted.
We've just been grateful for the care and respect that we've been given there.
And here when I come to visit my doctor, I'm not afraid to ask questions.
It's not just about getting you in and out.
I love my care at CVCH. It's awesome. Give it a try.
Walk and Roll Wenatchee's Asian Express is fast, fresh food. Wenatchee Roll's new Poke Hawaiian Fresh Salad Bar is the best. Fresh greens, fresh seafood, and handmade sauces. You know what you want. At Walk and Roll, create your own style meal. Hot off the line chicken, beef, and veggie plates. Lunch or dinner to match your appetite. Fresh sushi, hot entrees, Poke Fresh Salad Bar. It's new. It's Walk and Roll Wenatchee, fast, fresh food your way. Located on 5th and Mission.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody's entitled to my opinion. Now, I voted for gay marriage to be legal, so I should be a liberal. I voted for the legalization of marijuana, so I should be a liberal. I work in the social services, so I should be a liberal. Now, you know why I'm not? You know why I proudly call myself conservative? Because there are many liberals, not all, but many, who are so doggone self-righteous, so disrespectful to anybody with a contrary opinion, and so devoid of any ability to see any humor directed towards them, that is, if they have a sense of humor in the first place, that I will never consider myself a liberal or apply the term liberal to myself. I call myself a social eclectic, but never a liberal. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
It's golf the way it should be at the Kaler Glen Golf and Ski Resort at beautiful Lake Wenatchee. With water, wildlife, towering pines, their signature driving range, and lush green grass, you don't have to be good to play Kaler Glen, just be prepared to have fun. And the Kaler Glen Golf Special is the way to do just that. On Wednesdays, you can golf 18 holes with a cart for just $25. It's the NCW Life Channel Special, exclusively at the Kaler Glen Golf and Ski Resort.
The NCW Life Channel is your home for local news, local weather, and events including live local high school sports. Watch inspiring local shows featuring local people. Don't miss Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Let's Learn, Guada TV, Street Talk and Other Stuff, the 12th District, Life with Lisa, and the Arbiter of Stoke. NCW Life Channel is your local TV station.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley, back for the 5th big year. RLS Productions presents once again Concerts in the Garden, the annual series up at Omi Gardens. He's got 5 big acts lined up and ready to go. My guest today is Robert Sandage from RLS Productions. How are you?
I'm well, yourself?
It's good to see you.
Thank you for having us again.
Every time I see Robert, we begin the conversation with our never-ending 20-year debate. Who is the greatest drummer in rock and roll history? Now, Robert, for the record, is
Carl Palmer.
He believes Carl Palmer.
Or Neil Peart.
Well, of Rush, and I can certainly understand that. Carl Palmer, Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
And then, of
on
course,
Asia.
Alan White from Yes.
Yeah. Again, not a big fan of progressive rock, that whole, make your synthesizer do weird stuff, garbage.
They didn't have synthesizers on the drums.
Well, all I'm saying is that
just a huge kit.
Just a huge kit. Carl Palmer is a great drummer. Alan White, a great drummer. Obviously, Neil Peart is a great drummer. No question about it. Technically outstanding drummers. Certainly in the top 10 rock and roll drummers of all time. But of course, I'm a Keith Moon guy. That's just I love Keith Moon. To me, he is the greatest rock and roll drummer.
Chaos, Animal, wherever the stick lands, crazy man.
Yeah.
Phenomenal drummer. But man, I would have to say that it is amazing that he actually made it through every song, except for the one, of course, in the Palace.
The famous incident. Yes, there was a famous incident at the Cow Palace in San Francisco.
He passed out, and they got a drummer out of the crowd, and they did 2 songs and said, "We'll see you next year."
Somebody slipped Keith Moon a horse tranquilizer, and he kept falling asleep at his drum kit, and they finally drugged him off the stage, and some kid coming up on stage, Pete Townsend said, "Anybody here play the drums?" And the guy, "I can." And they went up and did a couple of songs. There's actually video of it somewhere on YouTube. That's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about me. What do you think about me, Rob?
I like the sandiness going on.
Yeah, I'm getting gray, man. I'm getting old. I'm not like sandage old.
It's not old. It's called character.
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Then I have a lot of character.
We're all getting there. I mean, we were just talking about this.
Yeah. Speaking of drummers, before we get into the concerts in the gardens, do you still lay down to the skins every once in a while?
I do, but I basically rehearse, with headphones and records. And if I could find a progressive band or something like a Tower Power or Chicago, I like horns.
I like horns too.
Move that direction. But other than that, it's got to be something progressive. And so I spent a lot of time on the road and away from home, from starting at right after high school.
Yeah.
Until about 2004.
Playing the drums is a release for you? Maybe you've had a bad day at the office and you can go down and slap on the headphones and just...
No.
A lot of people do, yeah.
It's actually just an expression of I actually consider myself to be an extension of the stick, wherever it wants to go, like Keith Moon.
Yeah. I'll get him there yet. Back again for the 5th big year. You have a great lineup. Some of these names are going to be familiar. In fact, they're back again. I'm talking specifically two Slim and the Tail Draggers and the Wenatchee Swinging Big Band. They're back again. Talk about the booking procedure. Who comes and when do they come, and how did you decide who was coming? Obviously, you can't book anybody if they're not touring. That's a big thing. But walk me through the booking process for getting these groups.
Well, we're already looking at 2019. So, for example, for that, I look at who's going to open. Potentially, it will be the act that closes this year to give some familiarity to it. The group that we have actually closing this year is a Phil Collins and Genesis tribute band. They are considered, I think, the best in the nation.
Wow.
It's going to be a phenomenal show. And the group's called Invisible Touch, and they do nothing but the hits of Phil Collins and Genesis, and they do not go off on their own little tangents. It's actually the way the songs are performed, either on the record or live.
Which is the way most people prefer it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The public, our guests. And then, but we're still looking at bringing possibly back Kelly Thibodeau and Etouffee. Which is a Cajun Zydeco,
group. Yep. Good stuff.
Zydeco style music. We, having booked talent since probably I think 87, 88, and knowing the artists, just being in the
knowing the booking agents.
Yeah, or directly the artists. Some of them actually
book themselves.
Yeah, book themselves still. Some of the national acts, they like to go through the agency. I mean, like Too Slim actually works with Blue Mountain, so we work with him, Derek there. But I contact them and I see what their avails are. We have a proximity clause and a performance clause within our performances, so that we're not diluting the market. Even though we're a small venue, we do have to sell the thing out. If it wasn't for our sponsors, we wouldn't be able to keep that ticket price down the way it is right now.
And we'll talk about the sponsors before this interview is over. Is it a hard sell sometimes? Hey, it's Robert Sandage, RLS Productions.
Some of them are already actually contacting me.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now that's got to make you feel good.
Well, they've heard about it, or their buddies that have performed there said, hey, you got to check this venue out, We had some really good turnaround from the guys from Heart, which Heart by Heart. They actually reached out to some nationals and said, they're doing what they said they're going to do. It's not a big budget, but you're gonna perform on this stage. It's phenomenal. You're looking over the valley.
It's an incredible venue.
Yeah.
It's absolutely incredible venue.
The stage is pretty cool too. I mean, hanging over the edge of the steep cliff, and you walk up on the stage and you're just like, is it gonna fall off?
And the best part is, we talked about the ambiance of being at Omni Gardens, and the weather's always beautiful. You surround yourself with top flight pros. Everybody, your sound guy, your stage people, your lighting, your cinematographers. You don't shrimp on that. You make sure that when the bands come in, they're working with professionals.
Yes. That's the only way to actually, run a business like this. Either you shoot from half court, or you dribble. And I've always been one that feel like you need to actually slam dunk it and make sure that your guests are walking away with an experience, not just, oh, I went to a concert lesson. I can't remember the name of the group, but
That used to happen to me all the time.
You're terrible. That's because you got slipping those horse pills.
Yeah, had a horse tranquilizer, and I can't remember the concert. So we kick things off with tribute to Journey, the Infinity Project. They've been here.
They were the closers last year.
Yeah, and they were great.
Yes.
They were great.
Yeah,
and that place was packed. It was packed. Everybody's having a good time.
They sold out, and they're really close to selling out again this year. I think we were down to like maybe 20 tickets to them, and I'm not going to actually advertise them on the radio because it'll bleed out by its own.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have up next is Too Slim, of course. And
Tim's a great guy.
Yeah,
and he's a great showman and a really good guitarist.
Yeah, the slide. He's one of the hottest in the nation as far as slide and R&B, and R&B being blues, but it's rock and blues.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the big band's coming back. They're kind of a local favorite. They only perform like 3 times in the area, and so we
How do you get them all on that stage? It's a big band.
Yes, 25 pieces. So
yeah,
22 to 25, depending on who shows up. They're actually a technical navigation challenge.
From a standpoint, yeah, logistics with that many people on stage, from miking and audio, that's the big thing, right?
Yeah, direct mics for lead, and then the ambient mics for picking up, multiple.
Horns are loud on their own without having to be amplified.
So you have to compress that, and dealing with getting them to actually know how to back off, and so they're like the biggest challenge as far as miking wise.
I bet.
And we do keep their volume down to 87 dB. So all the acts, yes.
What? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
It's loud enough to enjoy, but it doesn't overwhelm you with the music, and that's the key.
We don't want to actually offend people that are nearby.
Yeah, that's understandable.
And most acts have come in at about 102, and I actually now have our contracts written that they must work with our engineers to get their dB down to 87 max at the mixing position. So,
which is fine. It's an intimate area. You
Yes.
know, the challenge course is open air. You're not in a controlled environment. You're not in an arena.
Those trees are actually almost like a little arena. Yeah.
Is that a challenge for your sound mixing people?
It's perfect.
Is
it diffuses everything wonderfully.
It has its own little sound baffles.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
And the birds are rocking out.
Yeah, they're just digging it.
Peter Rivera Band. I don't know why, but I'm not particularly familiar with him.
The Rare Earth Band.
And that was my best show. That was my favorite show last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. That's right, 2 years. They were really good.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody thinks, okay, Get Ready, but they took Get Ready in an entirely different direction. I mean, everybody got to stretch out.
Almost like the live album.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, it was really good, and I was very impressed.
Yeah.
So.
He's phenomenal. I mean, the guy still has the pipes that you just like Rare Earth, you know. He was the lead singer and drummer for Rare Earth, and was on all the hits, that they had. 25 million records sold. I think 2 double platinum, single platinum, several gold albums. I don't know how many top one.
They had their own record label.
Yeah.
They signed with Motown, and they gave them their own label.
Yeah.
That's pretty remarkable.
They were the only real rock band that Motown had signed.
Yeah.
But of course, he was from Detroit, so.
Right, that made a lot of sense.
They actually called him up and said, "Hey, we want you," and then they showed up, and of course he was a different variety of personnel that Motown normally worked with, but they said, "We can work with this," and they actually created their own division for them.
That reminds me, I mean, the Peter Rivera Band, you said played 2 years ago. As soon as they were done, you thought, okay, I got to go see Peter and say, I need to have him back the next time he's in the Northwest. Was it one of those kind of things?
Well, I actually contacted Peter, and he was looking at a European tour around that same time, and so it didn't work out last year to have him back. And it was probably good because we need to actually bring in an influx of new personnel, and so that we're keeping things fresh. But he actually called me up in March and said, "Hey, am I still on?" And I said, "Dude, you never returned my call."
But he's back.
Yeah, we brought him back this year.
How do you make the decision? How do you decide, let's bring in the Infinity Project, and let's bring in Too Slim, and let's bring in Invisible Touch? How does that?
It's the market.
Yeah, that's you found it. After 4 years, you pretty much know what flies and what doesn't fly in little old Winnetachie town.
More like since I think we started producing in the area in '94 when it was. what station was that? Fisher or something.
Yeah, oh, it was The Rock.
The Rock,
Yeah, The Rock on the 6.7.
Yeah.
You and I working back in those days with Uncle Dave.
95, I think.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That's when we started the debate between Keith Moon and Carl Palmer, but we won't get into that.
Again.
So, you mentioned the Infinity Project begins the process. It's Thursday, July 5th, the day after Independence Day. Those tickets are almost all but gone. How are we doing for the rest of the season?
They're all showing a little stress in the sense of being close to selling out. I think the most we have on any show is about 40 tickets left right now.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there are some reserved seats left, and we sell those in pairs. So when you go to rlstickets.com to look up the price, understand that's not per ticket. That's for 2 tickets at a reserved table.
What's the difference between reserved and general admission?
You have a table.
Okay.
You know, so, and because Taste Buds does our catering, you can actually put your food and beer, wine, beverage, whatever it is that you're imbibing with, and relax, you know, with the table.
And the proximity to the stage.
Yep. But basically, it cups the front of the stage. You know, it's like a bowl.
Right.
And then the GA, which there's no bad seat in the house.
No, there's no bad seat in the house.
Is all seated, row seating, that's on the outside edges. But I've never had anybody complain.
No, they're great. And there's usually some dancing going on.
Yeah, off the side. We have, except for Infinity last year, we actually had a group of people. In fact, some of your sales team was up there. Oh, yeah.
Wenatchee Valley College is the beneficiary of all this. For those who don't know, why did you choose the Wenatchee Valley College Foundation to be the beneficiary of the dough? Why them? There's a lot of good places around there, but why them?
Well, when I decided to actually accept their offer to be on the board of the foundation, every member that's on the board needs to actually give back and make some type of donation. And so Rio, my wife, and I talked about it and said that instead of just cutting them a check, we were already looking at producing the series. With 3 objectives. One is midweek tourism. The second is developing the series into a regional draw, actually pushing more, again, tourism to the valley. And then lastly is actually, we decided to set up an endowment account where we're giving no less than 25% of the net proceeds to the Wenatchee Valley College from each of the series. And so that will actually be coming together, hopefully, if not this year, the next year. Where we'll have raised $35,000 to put directly into that endowment account. Now we also have another account that's for annual scholarships that we've been giving out since 2014. And
is that those scholarships music related specifically to the music department, or they're available to anybody? Okay.
They're actually focused towards network administration or graphics or digital design. Okay. Computerized, animated, digital design, and of course graphics. And they're $1,000 scholarships that are doled out each year. That's separate from the endowment account. So total so far we have $29,500 we've given to the college, and 10 of that has actually gone out in annual scholarships. So we're sitting at about $19,500 in the endowment account.
That's got to make you feel pretty good.
You know, it's just giving back to the community.
You gotta love it. No sponsors, no series.
That's
Let's
right.
fill up the sponsors, and if you want to mention a couple of the bigger ones, if you want. But these are the folks who make this whole thing possible.
We have been very fortunate to have all these sponsors come on board. The Confluence has been there every year. Of course, Local Tel, Brenda and Dimitri got on early. Haran Estates, Dennis and Beth Dobbs. They are also
great?
Yeah. They are also they give back every year to actually that annual account, and besides their sponsorship, they actually generally give us about $2,000 additional each year to give out to students for scholarships. And JDSA Law, they came on this year as stage sponsors. Same with Guild Mortgage, they're our video sponsors, and Lori Mooney and Country Financial just came on about a couple weeks ago, right before we actually closed everything down. Of course, Cherry Creek, and we have a special hotel rate at the Marriott Spring Hill Suites. All you have to do is call them and ask for the RLS Productions rate. And it's about half off their rack rate. So
that's good.
Friends Peonies, they've been on board since the beginning. Turner Restoration and well, everyone that you see there, have been with us for some time now. And of course, A-Wolf Productions is actually our new cinematographer that we brought in this year.
So are we going to have we've been airing the concerts in the series over the last, I don't know, for a while now. Is that going to be back again this year?
It will be. I need to talk with your programmers to see if possibly they want to go to an hour, because we already have enough in the can from shoots and live recordings, multi-track using Jazz Stream Records to multi-track those recordings.
Dave.
Yeah,
we love Dave. Yep, he's the best.
And so we actually, if they want it, we'll produce it and put it together and give it to you guys probably sometime this fall.
It's a great show. The cinematography is fantastic. The sound is great. Every time I'm channel flipping and I pop by and there's another one of the concerts in the gardens, I always watch it, even though I've seen it a bunch of times because it's just so damn entertaining.
But there'll be 9 shows now because we recorded The Invisible Touch.
That's right. You brought a video with you.
I did. This is our 30-second television commercial, and we use also for social media. If you want to bring that up, that's basically tells you about the series and how to get tickets at rlstickets.com, and it tells you about what our objectives are.
Robert, you and I will use the monitor here in the studio. For you folks at home, please use your televisions.
RLS Productions presents Concerts in the Gardens held at Omi Gardens this coming summer, featuring the Infinity Project, a Journey tribute band, Too Slim and the Tail Draggers, the Wenatchee Swing and Big Band, the Peter Rivera Band, and Invisible Touch, a Phil Collins tribute band. The objectives of the series are to increase midweek tourism to the Wenatchee Valley, the development of a world-class series overlooking the Wenatchee Valley, along with awarding annual scholarships to Wenatchee Valley College students. RLS Productions would like to thank their supporters and volunteers for helping make this all possible.
Looking forward to it. First concert, almost sold out, is Thursday, July 5th. All of these concerts, of course, are on Thursday evenings. Tickets are going fast. I'm in. How do I get my tickets?
rlstickets.com.
That's simple enough.
Gates open at 5 o'clock. Music starts at 6:30. And
talk about, I was going to say, I need food in my belly and my
Taste
thirst
Buds will be there, catering.
How did you get them?
Well, I've been, she's like a little sister.
You can be a persuasive guy. You really can be.
And of course, Haran Estates will be serving their wine, and Icicle Brewery will be serving the brewery or brewing beer.
Right.
And of course, Weinstein will have their products, Pepsi and water products, etc. But it's an incredible experience, walking in there and having everything just so cool. With the sun kind of goes down a little bit, and with that view of the panoramic view of the valley behind them, it's like a mini gorge.
It is. It's like a mini gorge.
Yeah.
It really is. Robert, it's always good to see you. Say hi to Rio for me.
I will.
Make sure she sings Sunny Supper Rose again this year. That's my favorite. And when we come back, legendary rock and roll drummer Carl Palmer will be on this program. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Thank you.
Join the NCW Life channel for live coverage of the commencement ceremonies for Westside High School June 14th and Wenatchee Valley College June 15th. Coverage brought to you by
Charter College. We work to get you to work. Hometown Hearing across from the mall on Valley Mall Parkway. And by Leonard Evans Used Cars Superstore, where the name means a great deal.
Celebrate with the Class of 2018 live on your local TV station, NCW Life channel, and ncwlife.com.
Yamaha ATVs and side-by-side vehicles are proven off-road. Designed, engineered, and tested in the real world, they provide the best balance of off-road capability, comfort, and confidence, delivering performance that is truly proven off-road.
Family means something in these parts. Family owned and operated means even more. At Rose Tractor, you're buying more than a product. You're buying years of knowledge through multiple generations. It means you can count on Rose for quality products, quality repairs, and folks who stand behind the products they sell. From your job site to your home to rentals and repairs to new outdoor power equipment, Rose Tractor is growing with you throughout the years. Rose Tractor, quality brands you can trust year after year.
And welcome back. We're back here live from Studio 2 in downtown Wenatchee on this Wednesday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Let's take one more look at your weather forecast from the National Weather Service. The big story today going to be the wind. Sunshine for pretty much everybody. It's going to start out breezy, northwest wind about 6 to 11 miles an hour. Then it gets downright windy. Later on this afternoon, winds at 17 to 22 miles an hour. Again, a northwest wind and gusts above 30, maybe even 35 miles an hour. And the wind is not going to die down very much tonight. Skies will remain clear. It's going to be chilly, 51 for the overnight low, but it will be windy again. Tonight, northwest wind 11 to 21 miles an hour. Thursday, we calm down as far as the wind is concerned. These temperatures that you see, 74 today, it's 75 on Thursday, below normal. Friday, not bad at all. Friday night for Wenatchee Valley College graduation, it looks dry. We warm up a little bit Saturday and Sunday, and all of next week is going to be sunny and hot. Heads up on that. It's going to be a very warm weekend as we say hello to summer, which is almost here. Friendly reminder, if you missed the Wenatchee High School commencement exercises, the entire graduation ceremony is now available on our website. Go to ncwlife.com. Everybody have a great Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.